running here. Here we are, another episode of Trash Talk Business Podcast, episode 106. A little background noise because Andy Barton is joining us a few minutes late. No big deal. Typical Marine. So yeah, what are we doing? All right, this is your weekly. I forgot. This is where I do the intro. I'm Andy Weins. He's Casey Bubba Lawrence, and this is your weekly opportunity to learn all about the amazing junk removal world we live in today and every day. If you're looking to grow, scale, or build your business, you've come to the right place. This week, I know what we're talking about, so I don't even need to introduce Casey. We are doing our quarterly update with Mr. Andrew Barton, joining us from the great state, to say that in jest, of New Jersey, the northern shores of New Jersey. Mr. Andy Barton, let's talk about Q1.
Thank you, guys.
So we'll start with a Q1 update, and then let's talk about Q2 and beyond. So I guess first, let's talk about where are you at? You launched a second location this year. Is that accurate?
Congratulations. It's accurate. We're 9 months in now.
There we go.
There we go.
Or maybe not this year, but in the last year. Okay. So let's start there. What are the lessons? Because our good friend Russ Berry also have done this in the last year. His is like what, New York and Florida or something, like drastic differences. Yours is like up the road per se, a couple hours away.
Yeah.
So
I'm calling it the hub and spoke, right?
The hub and spoke wheel, the methodology. Yeah, that's traditional business hub and spoke in it. All right. So what have you learned? Let's talk about that. How is the new site doing? And then let's talk about the old site.
The new site still has its ups and downs. I think we opened that second location after 12 years here, figuring things out in our original headquarters. And I think I was optimistic. I think it's doing well. It's done better in a lot of capacities than I expected to, but it still has its days where it hits and miss. And I think a lot of that's just, you have to be there. You have to be present. You have to build up your brand and your recognition there. And so I think it's just going to take time. I spoke to a couple of my other friends about this, and they all said 18 months is kind of your litmus test for real. So we're only halfway to that point, and we continue to plug away. I would love to see it do a little bit better, but it pays for itself. It makes me a little bit of money, so it's all right,
I'd say 9 months. Yeah, if you are cash flow, I guess the hillbilly math is you got to making money in 6 months. Or at least not losing money. Let's say that not losing money in the first 6 months, right? When you get you're and then I'd say paid off in the first 12, right? So whatever losses you incurred the first 6, you got it paid off by the first 12. This is, and then between 12 and 18 months, the goal is to be profitable as a fully automated or full realized site. The expectation is your first 6 months, you're going to be investing more than you're making. 6 to 12 months, the goal is to make more than you invest. And then 12 to 18 months is to recoup your initial. And then to your point, after 18 months, if you haven't recouped your initial, it might be time to cut bait.
Yeah, and I think that's accurate. I know he's since left, but I was talking to Bennett Grove about it too, the CEO and founder of Fire Dogs. Yeah, and he had said he actually tried to open locations twice before he had any success. So I think there is a lot of opportunity in locations because you have so much economy of scale. It cost me almost nothing in insurance to open it. It didn't cost me nearly as much in tools and equipment as it had, in the original form. So I think that, it's low hanging fruit. If you go out, you can spend your extra money on marketing and really have an opportunity. So
yeah, you're going to spend your money.
Want to keep in mind.
Yeah, you're going to have you're going to have higher than marketing costs when you first start because you're more confident where you're going to spend the dollars and you have the money. When I first started, my marketing budget was low because I only had so many dollars to throw at it every month, and I know what I was doing. And then the second thing is, your labor is going to be higher on that second location because you're going to bring guys in day one versus your first location when you're bootstrapping it and you're just doing it yourself. So yeah, those two costs are going to be higher. You're going to share in the operational efficiencies with your call center operations. You're going to share operating efficiencies in processes that are already built, and then the no shit, you get all the leftover tools and equipment or the extra stuff versus having to, put up $3,000 to $5,000 day one to buy all the things that it normally takes you a year or two to acquire.
And I'll tell you,
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, Case.
Have you noticed a big market difference in the two locations? And if so, what's the biggest difference?
Huge market difference. I think
market or marketing. I want to clarify that.
Market.
Okay. All
Marketing, I don't think is tremendously different. It's, I think once you find the processes that work, you can stick with them. But you know where we went, it's the demographic with the population that I was seeking is much more condensed than it is here on the Jersey Shore. And then as soon as you leave that area, you end up in very rural spaces. I can't tell you how many times I've gone and done an estimate, and I offer to do something for them for $125. You guys both know, like, that's, you're not making any money, $125.
No.
And they're like, oh no, that's way too expensive. I was thinking 25. I'll just burn it in the backyard.
So like rural. No. Oh no. It's interesting. That is the conversation I had earlier today with somebody. I said my single item's at 139, which is on point with my competitors here, and 10% discount puts me at 125 and 10 cents. And other people are like, oh, let's put it at the curb and see if it goes, and if not, I'll figure it out later. And it's like, well, that ain't a fucking great methodology for it. The other thing, we'll leave it at that. So it's more rural. The overall, are you based in one city, or is it just a countryside?
Well, so we're operating within the bounds of the Cherry Hill market, is what I call it. Cherry Hill, New Jersey is kind of my target town. Then there's some additional towns around there, but in that Cherry Hill market, I'm chasing 6 to 8 zip codes. Here on the Jersey Shore, we have upwards of 20 that are viable. They have the right demographics, the right income. It's
dense, like you said.
Yeah, and then down there, you stay in those zip codes, and I've spent some money trying to market outside of them, and I've learned that lesson very quick.
So let's talk. I want to get into that. I love, me. I love data. I love zip codes. 20, because I'm gonna write. Actually, I need a tailor. Actually, I got a marker. I'm gonna write down how many zip codes I think you have, based on my hillbilly math of doing this for more than a few days. So you said you have 20. All right, I put a number down. How many zip codes are feasible in your area?
Which one?
Your initial area. You market 22.
I don't know if I have that data. I'm operating basically within a 35-mile radius, so that makes sense. I don't know what the zip codes are.
That you don't go after.
There's certain towns, like, for example, Wall Township has 5 zip codes, so that's easy to chase those. I would tell you we have saturation, substantial saturation in 8 of them here, and then the rest there's room to grow. So
here's my this is the hillbilly math I wrote down. Is my hillbilly math says you can service 60 zip codes based off of that, right? If I would look at your map, I would say there's 60 zip codes. And this is where I break it down. This is how Milwaukee is. There are 60 zip codes I can service from my location going out 45 minutes. There's 60 zip codes, and the math I use is the sometimes, always, never 1/3 principle that ultimately works in life. So 1/3 of those zip codes will use me, right? They're the always people. They will always pay for junk removal. Now, whether they'll use me over my competitor, I don't know. Right? 1/3 sometimes. So that means sometimes some of the people will use junk removal, and 1/3 they will never pay a professional organization. So do they need the service? Yeah. Well, what are they going to do? To your point, yeah, they might take it out back and burn it. They might just put it on the side of the road. They might go hire Chuck in a truck because they don't give a shit as a professional junk removal company, right? So that's it. So when you said 20, I automatically just tripled it, right? There's probably 60 zip codes you can touch. And this is important. We talked about the guy. I remember that guy from Charlotte years ago. He's like, I want to go after Charlotte. I was like, that sounds like a terrible idea. What's a small town you can win? He's like, well, there's this one town that's 40,000 people. I go, yeah, go win there. Go win there first. Right.
Well, because
find 3 to 5. I tell people, find 3 to 5 zip codes that work. Start with 3 to 5.
Well, look at per truck. How many can you actually realistically cover per year per truck? Right. So, you can literally put that down on a piece of paper and say, well, if I have, like, for instance, Dallas Fort Worth, it's huge and they're not geographically next to each other. You have a huge gap, which is called mid cities. But if I was to say, oh, I service all the DFW area. Cool. How many crews do you have? I have 2 trucks. All right. So you're telling me you can serve 8.5 million people with 2 trucks. Well, no. Well, you just told me that. That's literally what your marketing says. Right. Yeah, and they go after
I would say it's one truck for every 200,000 population. That is about,
not per year, though. I wouldn't say per year.
What you mean?
I'd almost break it down to 60,000 because we had a population of 450,000 in our area, but that was also within a 15-mile radius. That's that far.
No, I'm saying correct. Yeah, right. Like when we first started, we had 3 zip codes we went after. Four cities, we'll call it. was for 3 cities, 4 zip codes, because one has double zip code, right? About a population of 100,000. And now, yes, we served a bunch of other ones, but our initial was, hey, let's get to 2 or 3 trucks, right? And we got to 2 trucks with that. And that was with heavy saturation. So what I'm saying is, when you're starting, when you have 1 truck, go after 100,000 people max. That's it.
Yes.
Go after 100,000 people. Then go after 200, right? It's 100,000 for every truck you have until you get to certain economies of scale. Once you get to 3 or 4 trucks, then the economies of scale go up, right? Now you're talking there, Barton, Jersey Shore, you can go after a population of 2 million with 8 trucks because you're going to have enough saturation in certain areas.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point, and I would nuance that too. I think a lot of these guys, they discount their opportunity to do commercial business, and I think commercial business gives you a little bit of opportunity. I bet you can change that number to 120 or 140 if you're chasing those larger accounts.
That's what I'm saying. You can, with 8 trucks, you can service 2 million people because you have all you've earned the right to do consistent $3,000 to $5,000 jobs, or that really consistent $500 to $700 job that hits every month.
I think you're 100% right. I was just offering a nugget to some of these guys that are only operating 1 truck. Like how do you maximize your revenue there?
What I'm saying is in that what you're saying right now with your satellite location, because I want to focus on your satellite location for a lot of these startup guys, right? Your satellite location, you're going after 6 zip codes, right? 2 truck operation, maybe 200,000 population. That's it. You said we're saying the same thing. Aim small, miss small. When you first get started, I want to go after all of Milwaukee. I'm like, well, everyone's going to hire me. No, they're not. Go after the places I know they're going to hire me. Or if
I think we're 100% saying the same thing. I agree with you completely. I think one of the other benefits that we have is with the hub and spoke is if I have a slow day there, I just bring those guys this way. It's not super cost efficient for me, but it allows me to maintain a good quality staff and keep them busy all the time.
How far away is that site from yours? What's the drive time?
It's an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah. I would say anything closer than an hour seems kind of ridiculous because you're going to have so much crossover. Yeah, hour. I'd say 90 minutes.
The day at the hub?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Case.
Do they start the day at the original location, or they start at?
No, they always start there. I mean, that location is completely independent. It operates on its own. I'm just saying that they're close enough that I can utilize them. To me, what's important is maintaining quality employees, especially in that location, to make sure our reputation is being maintained. So, you're not going to keep quality people if you can't give them quality work every day. So, and I'll tell you, I think a lot of times they enjoy coming out here because they know it's 2 hours of just driving, listening to the radio,
Yeah. It's a win-win. And right? That you have more time right now, or you have more money than time, right? You have money to pay them, which allows you to get more time, right? To build up the site versus when you're first starting. You gotta monitor that cash flow. So you gotta watch every shekel. When you have economies of scale, you can make some choices. Yeah. So they're gonna burn $120 a day between fuel, maintenance, and their wages. Sitting in a truck for 2 hours, and yet you're still breaking even or better, and you're retaining the employees, and you're getting more exercise on those guys and that equipment.
100%. And I'll tell you what, there's some big wins down there for that. It's totally worth the spend. Again, I think you have a valid point. A lot of these guys, I understand, maybe don't have the access to capital, but that location to me, like, I'm not sweating it. I'd love to see it do a little bit better than it's doing right now, but I also think in 3 to 5 years, I'm be like, damn, this thing's rock and rolling, and I'm glad I did it.
How is it doing compared to your initial pro forma for that site?
It's a little bit below my pro forma. I was pretty optimistic. But I think, I go back to the same thing you're talking about. I can remember when I literally was begging people to come out and help me when I had a job. Otherwise, it was Andy Barton in my truck.
There was no brothers behind the Barton. It was Barton.
Exactly. So so I look at it in that capacity. I'm like, I really am being optimistic in the fact that it took me a couple of years to get this established here, and I'm rolling into a new market. Yes, I do have a little bit more money and time, so hopefully it gets going faster. But dude, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, you can talk about all the clicks and everything you want, pay per click and leads. The old adage is still true. You need to know the people need to know you, And if they see your name and they recognize your truck and they're familiar with you, they're going to call you.
Yeah, Bob Burke said it best, right? People buy from they know, like, and trust. And what you can, of those three, the 3 you can control, right, is they can know you. Right? You got to put yourself out there. You got to be available for the people to know who you are. People can't buy from you if they don't know who you are or what you sell. It's really that simple. And
I'll tell you,
that's marketing.
it's the same too. I go out there and do as many of those estimates as I can. I try not to book estimates if I don't have to, but you guys know what it is. You get a large estate clean out, you get a commercial property, you're gonna have to go say hi to those people. I go out there, my close rate's probably 95%. I send one of the boys and they're good, guys. They work hard, but they're not me. They don't sell the business the way I sell it. They're closing at 70%. So dude, it's a lot of driving on my side, but I think that's where the money's made,
Well, that's the agreement we had with my ops manager was a certain level of estimate. Yep. I would take that 100% of the time and it had nothing to do with if I didn't believe in him, because I trained him very well, and he was you knew Augie, Andy, and Augie was very responsible. But it got to the point where if I could leverage my position in the company with this job, why wouldn't I? Rather than an employee showing up and, you know what, let me check on that, or hey, let me ask real quick. And that, I'm not saying that's a killer, but a lot of times, they would try to sub out something to someone else, and I just happen to be there. So, that's not an issue. We'll just throw it on top of this existing job, and we'll get it done for you. I think as an owner operator, no matter how big you get, there's going to be times you need to be involved, especially in those big commercial situations, or even a small one. Every now and then, humble yourself. Go out there on a full trailer job, meet the customer, check on the guys, strike up a conversation. Because like you said, Andy, Barton, you can't expect the other people to talk about your business the way you do. And a lot of people appreciate that. So when they see that, oh, you're a vet, cool. Hey, I served 19 years with the Marine Corps. This is what I did. You and that person could build a rapport while your guys are getting that job done, rather than having one of your guys take up their time doing that.
And I think you're 100% on point. And I think what the other thing you got to remember is what's a big job to you, me, and Andy now, maybe a lot different than what this person thinks a big job is. I go and do two trucks and people are like, oh my God, this is a lot of money. Can I trust you? Do you have insurance? This and that. Yeah. And two trucks, we're going to be there maybe 90 minutes and we're going to be out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Our, when it comes to our, we have an SOP for this, right? And so what it is if it's ever a interior demo, right? So if my guy's looking to tear down a shed or something, not a problem, right? So interior demo, commercial job, or full house clean out. Then it's really, for us, it's a second set of eyes. It's a second set of eyes as much as it is. Then to your point, Andy Barton, it is the little bit of, hey, the owner of the company showed up, and there's a little bit more depth here, and let's establish a little bit more of a relationship beyond. Okay, you got a couch in the basement, and so. And I actually, as we're scaling right now, we exceeded goal Q1. Our biggest challenge right now is enough crew chiefs. I got enough guys in the trucks. I need enough guys. I need more guys that can run the trucks. That's where we're having a deficit in our company right now. And so I was sitting and looking at the calendar and saying, okay, where can I fit in? What can I do to, alleviate some of the stress from the field? And estimates is one thing I'm always able to do. And that allows Casey, our fleet commander, to go out and train more guys and be more present on jobs. Like, that's a good use. I love doing estimates. It is a time suck when you're driving between. Hell, I did 2 this morning in between meetings. I took phone calls in between, right? So I still got it done. And I mean, if I go out and do 2 15-minute estimates, it really is 30 minutes I'm doing, because the rest of the time I'm on my phone. Like when I'm working, right? I'm talking to my virtual assistant, or I'm scheduling a call. That's the kind of stuff I'm doing when I'm on the road. So it's built-in efficiencies. All right, so let's talk about, I shared a little bit, I'm up this year over goal, which is always good. Where are you at with your current site compared to goal, or year over year? I guess against pro forma. Against pro forma is the most important thing, right?
Yeah, our pro forma is pretty generous. We're up. We continue to be up. I think there's a lot of opportunity coming in Q2. You guys know Justin Waltz is a big proponent of that, and I think he's 100% right. Dude, it's all in your marketing, your advertising. If you're going to let yourself get down in your marketing and advertising when your money's down, in the wintertime, you're going to pay the price for it now.
Yep.
We invest heavily. My wife, we really got to get her on the show. I think she'd offer you guys a tremendous facet that I don't have, and I think Andy would really enjoy it. But we spend heavily on the marketing and advertising, and it's paying off now. It's been paying off. I think it's really going to hit in Q2. I think you're going to see, the economic conditions are still mixed. You keep getting these reports. Nobody really knows what's going on, but I think people are tired of sitting stagnant. The Northeast here, especially, the housing market's tight, and people are just making moves or renovating, and there's opportunity to fill trucks with garbage.
Well, it's great. It's an election year, so nothing drastic's going to happen one way or the other. Yeah, I have seen. We talked about this last episode or episode before that. I have seen plenty of people that went out. I saw people going out of business in Q4 of last year, and I've definitely I haven't seen any new junk removal companies in our area in 6 months. And I'd say the last 2 years, once a month I saw somebody. I live a mile from the landfill. So every day on my drive to work, I drive past the landfill. On my way home, I drive past the landfill. There's a transfer station I drive by. There's a scrapyard I drive by. So I see other junk removal trucks. This isn't just like, oh, no one drove by and went to the Quick Trip today, right? Well, actually, that is another point. I'm 3 blocks away from one of the busiest gas stations in this county. And so I see a lot of other junk removal companies at that gas station because they have gas, diesel, and the best fried chicken around. I haven't seen some of these cats. Some of these cats that popped up last year, I haven't seen them in 6 months. I haven't seen them since August, September. And I probably saw them once a month last summer. So
I'm seeing more dumpster hybrid companies.
Oh yeah, I see.
Than I am junk removal. Yeah. I'm seeing like, hey, I got a 15-yard dumpster, and they do the hybrid dumpster junk removal thing. I'm seeing
and the thing is, I still see the regulars, right? I see college hunks in the area. I saw 800 got junk today. This other regional competitor of ours, Junk Shuttle. I see those cats. They're ones that go to the landfill quite a bit. So I see the guys that I've seen for years. It's these pop-ups that I haven't seen them, and so. That to me is telling me that they're not out banging jobs the way we are, and more than likely is because they ran out of money to advertise and then kept their shekels tight. And like you said, they're paying the price. I learned that from you, Barton. Right? When it's going good, market. When it's going poor, market.
Yeah, I mean that's 100% my goal, and I'll tell you, I think I said it before. It's the end of the easy entrepreneur. Like, dude, it's over, and we're seeing the same thing. And these guys are starting to disappear. What we also are experiencing, though, is we're getting a lot of price sensitivity. Back in 2020, 2021, when the cash flow is flowing, people were hiring us without question because we're the highest rated and we have the reputation. And now, we still win the jobs, but you're working harder for it. So, like, well, I can't tell you how many times recently they're like, well, you were the highest estimate. Okay, well, we also have the highest quality people. We have the highest quality trucks. We're guaranteed to show up. We communicate throughout the entire process. Your receipt and everything is automated and sent to you automatically. These are things that people find value in. And if you don't find value in it, then you're not my customer. Like, I would love to do business with you, but at the end of the day, we continue to persist, and these other guys come and go. So I think you just have to keep that in perspective. But I do think you have to work harder to be successful in this business for the next couple of years.
Oh, no doubt. I was in a weird spot.
Your overhead goes up 100. It just goes up so much more now.
Oh yeah, so I was in a weird spot in 2020 because I sat through a 2-year non-compete, and I watched it. Obviously, 2020 the bottom fell out, and then it kind of recovered. But 21 and 22 were anybody with a fucking truck trailer and a strong back could get into this business. And then the second half of 23 they started dissipating because then it normalized, right? There was all the free money, housing market was booming, right? And so I agree. The next year and a half. I think Justin Waltz talked about this. He said for the next 18 months, it's going to be tough, right? He just said 18 to 24 months, it will be tough. And I agree. And he said this in Q4 of last year. This is when I read this, right? So in my head, I kind of circled, okay, April 1, 2025. That's when, right? That it's going to be a grind. And I can tell you the first 3 months of this year, we are exceeding expectations because we did not stop marketing. We continue to deliver amazing service. We continue hiring. We did all the things that we continue to do. We had a slow week here and there, and then it would pick up again. And I didn't let guys go, or I made sure guys had hours. I made sure our marketing was consistent. We didn't cut down our Google budget. We've just been consistent. We're not spending more. Some people will spend more. Spend twice as much to get half the work. No, we've been very consistent. We've been running our play, which is the best way of doing things. Modify the play, and we had our quarter our monthly KPI meeting today. We talked about Q1, and we did some reallocations on the profit or the reallocations on the pro forma. And now we're going to reallocate dollars. So we're going to spend the same amount of dollars. We're reallocating where we know they're going to best serve us.
I think I think you hit the nail on the head there. And I think it's smart. I think the other thing to think about here, 2 points I want to make are our tipping fees in the Northeast continue to skyrocket. We just got another $6 per ton increase.
Where are you at right now?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention.
Market rate in this area right now is 138, I think.
Ooh.
I mean, it's huge. When I started the business, it was 92.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I don't know what that math works out to be, but it hasn't been that long that it should be that high. And
well,
I think
you're in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the capacity alone it's limited. We're seeing the tip and fees skyrocket because our landfills are actually getting fuller quicker than expected. And we have 3 so far, 3 in the DFW Metroplex that have closed or already set to close this year. So they've closed it to the public. About a month ago, I did a clean out one of my storage properties, filled up a trailer, and telling y'all would understand this. This probably maybe weighed less than a ton. I mean, a ton or less. And I showed up to the scale and they're like, all right, cool. How big is your trailer? And I said, well, it's long. It's like 16 footer. Like, okay, cool. And I looked at the scale and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Less than a ton, $316. And I said, let me ask you a question. Why is it that much? They go, oh, well, that's our minimum. What? So then I looked and I drove it 30 minutes from a town called Weatherford. Weatherford's booming, by the way. Weatherford had its own landfill. That's the first place I went. I showed up and said, hey, we're closed to the public. And I'm like, why is that? Well, we're full. So then I had to go to another one. They want to charge me $316. They said, look, if you don't want to come here, you can go to Fort Worth. Fort Worth had 2 landfills at the time. One is set to close in the next 2 years. It was a 15-year out landfill, and now it's subbed into 2 years because of the massive growth we've seen the past 4 years here in the DFW area. How that affects all these junk removal companies is, well, if you're in Weatherford and you were relying on the Weatherford landfill, your closest landfill now is 20 minutes down the road, and now it's $316 minimum. If you don't want to pay that, you got to go to Fort Worth. Now you're looking at 45 minutes closest to go spend some money to throw shit away. And it's funny to see how the trash industry impacts real estate and the growth over here because people are moving. It's one thing we didn't think about back in 2020 in the business. We didn't think about, oh, when people flood the market here, then the landfills are going to close early and that's going to affect us. We didn't think about that. I mean, I didn't. I knew it was going to raise because every year they raise their prices, which is why I raised my prices. But when you look at that kind of issue, it's not just raising the prices, it's running out of space to put trash. That's an even bigger problem because now you got to go find more space to put trash. So when you look at that kind of market, you're like, hey, well, if I want to start my junk removal business, you're going to start with a very high overhead. And I'm not talking about your yard or your office. I'm talking about just one job. How much is one job going to cost you today that it would have cost you 4 years ago? And it's, I would say, double at this point, if not way more.
Yeah, there's just
in this area.
To me, well, and I think it's the same. It's nationwide, and I think it just what you're describing just begs to me the idea of innovation. You know, we're all going to end up following a model closer to Andy's, where you're trying to recycle more. You're going to have to. I also think one of the cool things, you know, Andy and I have spoken about the junk removal trade group a couple times, but I would love to really get that going. You know, here in Jersey, as a private citizen, you're only allowed to drop 6,000 pounds annually, and the same thing, you have a minimum. So, and you can't come in here and haul other people's waste without a pretty specific, expensive, and time-consuming license.
Yeah.
And you know, guys complain about it, but dude, like, if you take the time to fill the paperwork and do that the right way, like those are huge advantages. Because most of my customers, they couldn't empty out their house if they wanted to. They're not allowed to drive it there. They get 6,000 pounds and they're out.
Crazy.
So you can rent the dumpster, you can hire the junk removal company. Do you want to do your own labor or do you not? But I tell you what, I also think that's why our landfills are still operating relatively efficiently. We don't have the kind of growth that you have in Fort Worth. I was down in Orlando this week. That place is blowing up. But you also, you know, when you control that market and force people to kind of think about it, it slows down the process a little bit, which I think is good. It allows you to forecast and grow at scale. The other thing it does here is, you know, it does it everywhere, but it does it here even more so because the garbage doesn't go anywhere. It's pent up demand. Whether you want to hang on to it this year or wait till next year, you want to wait 2 years from now, the garbage is there. But I think to Andy's point, you know, like what he's doing, I just bought the box truck. We launched the moving company, but a large part of the moving company is, dude, I'm so excited to get a storefront going. You know, I don't know what the name's going to be. I'm thinking Barten's Bargains, you know, from one customer to another.
I like that.
But I want to put something together.
I hate the resale business. I love the name. Yeah, I hate the resale business. I love the name.
Dude, I hate the resale business, but I don't see an option. Like, I think it's the only way you can start cutting your costs down and still continue to be competitive.
What about donating? Do you have plenty of facilities? So that's us. We just donate it because it costs me nothing to donate it.
I donate a ton. The problem with the donation I have is they can't keep up with me. I go there and they refuse me. And if they refuse me and I got to sit on it, I either got to sit on it or I got to dump it. And I just don't have the capacity to do that. Good, bad, or indifferent. We're busy enough that we don't have that kind of space on the trucks.
How big? Do you have a warehouse or a facility to hold material?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything near as expansive as yours. I would tell you I'm at probably 8,000 square feet.
That's substantial. I mean, it's
not
a lot of guys have
terrible.
2,000-3,000. Yeah, no, it's I have 20,000 on the ground, 20,000 square feet on the ground, and I use about half, maybe a hair more, but a lot. I mean, I have 20. My office is 2,500. So I mean, obviously that's a big tree. So I use about 10,000 of the floor. Maybe a little more, 12,000. Because there's an area, because I store empty carts and shit. Yeah, at capacity, yeah. Well, I mean, if I filled every nook and cranny, it'd be 20,000 square feet. At capacity, I probably fill in about 12,500 of the warehouse, and then the 7,500 is, more storage of long-term shit. Like building materials and things like that, like things that we use within the building and within the business. Also, my old rage room I got 3,000 square feet. That's just basically dead cap space. It just chills there. 2,500, 3,000, whatever it is.
I think the rage room idea is kind of cool too, but what I'm experiencing here too is what the donation people want. I had some mid-century furniture. The lady wanted to donate.
They get picky.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I have a good relationship with these people. I can literally call and email them, send them pictures. Yeah. And she refused, I think, 10 or 12 really nice pieces. She refused all but 2 of them. Yeah. And dude, to me, that's opportunity. That stuff, I know I could put it in a shop and sell it for $20.
Well, here we go. Actually, Taylor, this is the great thing about Taylor having a producer of the show. He shared our latest poll, latest and newest poll, where the question was, and relevant here, where do you operate your company from? 65% of the 51 people that voted, 65% of them operate out of their house. 14% out of a yard, 13% out of an office, and 7% out of a warehouse. So, even in your 8,000 square foot warehouse, I still say you're in probably the top 2%, 3%, right?
Oh yeah.
90, according to our data, all right, 90% of people, 93% of people do not operate out of warehouse. What's interesting is only 1% operate out of a storage unit. The franchise we used to be part of, that was their model. Get a storage unit, operate your material. Remember how stupid that was?
I remember.
I actually spoke to a
great
guy.
Idea.
I talked to a cat who's still with that current.
Now I encourage that, by the way.
What's that? Storage units?
Now I encourage that model.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you want to operate
a great office, man.
Tell you what, if you want to be the one, I'll do a plug. Casey, what's the name of your company? I don't even know the name of it.
I got 2 of them. I got Beth Road. It's in Texas. Beth Road Self Storage, and then Silver Lake Self Storage.
Silver Lake, you said? Which one?
Yeah, Silver Lake Self Storage.
I'll just do a plug. Here we go. Do you want to be in the top 1% of junk removal companies and operate out of a storage unit in the DFW area? Give my buddy Casey Bubba Lawrence a call at Silver Lake Storage, where you can fail just like J-Dog. Casey, back to you.
Hey, we got 10 by 20s available too.
10 by 20s.
Oh yeah.
Buy one, get one half off for your first 2 months.
There you go.
I'm telling you,
we actually did that, Barton. We did in our first year.
I stood on you so hard.
We didn't run out of it.
Remember,
we put our scrap in there.
Remember, I shit on you so bad. You're like, no, this is great. I go, that's a terrible. You were so mad at me. You're like, no, dude, this is great. This is $125 a month. I'm like, great. You're spending $125 a month to store $200 in scrap.
We were in there for 2 months.
and then you get a warehouse. Yeah, this ain't working. You were so excited that I shit on you. And you're like,
the biggest thing, there was no one working it. So we honestly were doing what storage units are meant to be used for. And we were just storing it. We weren't doing anything with it. And that's when we're like, this isn't working, because if we're going to keep this, we have to move it. But that's the thing is, look, your first year of business, man, it's tough figuring out. Me and you didn't know each other when we first started. I didn't know Barton. We didn't have a Facebook group that I knew about to ask questions. It was more just like, hey, does this work? Yeah, it works right now. We didn't really think about, is this going to be working in 6 months?
And that's the thing. So, I get it. I get it. You can't run out of your house in perpetuity. There's no argument there, right?
Right.
Storage unit's not the way to do because you really can't work out of a storage unit. It's just dead money.
Some of them are strict. Some of them are like, hey, we saw people pulling up, buying stuff. You're out of here.
Great. It's better to go find a commercial property that's vacant and be like, hey, can I just rent space on your property in the back?
Yeah.
Right. Like at least then you can park your truck and come and go, or ask them someone, ask a big commercial property if you can get a corner of their warehouse, or there's other ways of doing it, because a storage unit is that you're spending $200 a month to store stuff that ain't worth $200, and you got to drive it there, unload it, and then it
you're
makes
paying
no sense
to keep it. And
correct.
The other part about it is, you want to talk about how 61% operate out of their house.
65.
The cool thing is 65%. The cool thing about that is right now it is advantageous for your business because you can write some of that off because it's your office.
Correct. And I went right from the house to the warehouse, right? I get it. I did the house thing. It's not like I'm like, oh,
we went a little slower. Like we went from house to a shared lot where we would park our trucks, in a shared lot.
Yeah, to be fair, I did have a great. Oh, right. And I also had a yard I could park my trucks in when we were in the house.
Yeah.
You're right. I had a yard, and it was merely just to park trucks and have guys swap out their vehicles with our trucks sometimes.
But we didn't get to the point where we needed space to sort or separate, because honestly, we weren't doing that at first. And then when we started doing it, we started small. And hell, this, our first actual warehouse move, we went too big. We went to a big 7,500 square foot warehouse, which was great. It was nice, but it was too expensive. We utilized every square inch that we could, but we couldn't profit from every square inch that we could because we were too early in the game. And
you had that mountain of cardboard. You had like 1,000 square feet dedicated to a cascading pile of cardboard.
Hey, you know what, man? I bailed all that too. I got it bailed. All right.
I went there. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of that.
2 bales.
Exactly. It was like 2 bales. I'm like, why don't you just bail it right away? He's like, oh no, we'll get to it. I should. It was like, dude, it was probably like 500 square feet. It was like a 3-car garage of cardboard.
But you know how cardboard is, Bart. When you make a pile, it doesn't stack anymore. It just slides to the right and the left.
It's only 4 feet high, and it's
oh my gosh.
But you guys are working it. I don't store it.
Man.
Yeah, he didn't store. Yeah, Barton don't store shit like that because there's no reason to store.
At the time, there was a market.
Yeah. I tell you,
I get 2 cents a pound. What do you get?
2 cents a pound? Ooh, a penny and a half.
Really? That's interesting.
I'm getting a penny and a not even. I think I want to say a penny and a half loose and a penny. I think maybe it's it's like it's between $125 and $150 for a full box truck of cardboard, magazines, and books. It is. By the time I fire up my forklift and load it onto a truck, I'm already losing money. Now,
we're take 20 cents per pound.
Yeah, if I take 20,000 pounds of cardboard and paper, right, and I'm at $100 a ton, then there's your math, right? I save $1,000 by not landfilling it. So I'm up.
Yeah, well,
I'm up 150 instead of spending 1,000.
So I will say this is something that we looked into, and we could facilitate it so it made sense, but like computer paper, for instance, we got paid more for it. Books, they didn't want paperback. They wanted the hardback books. And the cardboard that we brought in was actually not the big money makers. The big money makers was the computer paper. It's heavier, it's denser,
Yeah, so
that's what they wanted more of.
So we make our most money on magazines. Same thing, right? So because it's the heaviest. So yeah, we do baled cardboard, magazines, books, and then loose paper. Those are the 4 SKUs in the paper product. And our mixed paper one is the one we get the least amount. Like you can fill up a magazine Gaylord in one fucking house. That's you get the right person with the fucking national, dude. The National Geographics, the Playboy collection. They thought there's like 2 Playboys that are worth it, and it's like the Marilyn Monroe.
That's
and
it.
Maybe one other. That's it. I mean,
we had a crate full of Playboy magazines that were like, this is going to be worth so much. One was like $5. I was like, shit, it's $3 when you could buy it. We only made $2 in 20 years on one magazine. So not worth it, man.
Yeah. The whole point is not to store things, right? We have a 3-step methodologies, which is to sort it, store it, and ship it. And my goal is to reduce the amount of time. I like sorting it on the job, store it into my truck, and ship it on the way back, dropping it off
100%.
there.
Drop it off. And dude, I try to store nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We store because we have the space and the processes, when I tell people to store it, I mean put it in your truck and drive it somewhere. Store it for the 20-minute drive in an enclosed truck or trailer, or box truck, and then that's the storing process I'm talking about.
Yeah, the only thing we really stored towards the end were things that we got picked up from us, but in a volume. So tires, mattresses, rock, dirt, stuff that we had to make a certain amount before it could get picked up. And we had the room to do that too. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, this warehouse is full of dirt. No, it's like we have a yard, it's an acre, that corner is dirt, and it's about to get picked up. Tires is another thing down here. There's one company that kind of controls the market of North Texas. And the coolest thing is now you have these sub tire facilities that will pick up from you at a good price because now they're selling it to the big tire company who pretty much runs the show.
You get paid.
The cool thing for us was, no, we don't as a consumer. If you're a vendor of theirs, then they will pay you. So instead of having to pay the big company $1.50 a tire, you could bring like 20 to 30 for free to one of these smaller ones.
And then they would sell it to the big company. Yeah.
Yeah, but we were having a collection of 150 to 300 tires at a time. So we'd have the big company pick it up from us, charge us $1.50 a tire. Well, we charge $10 to $15 a tire though from the customer.
Did I tell you guys I bought another dumpster company?
No, that's fucking.
Yeah. I think it's a good conversation to have. Talk about the acquisition of business in this economic conditions.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
We have, Barten Bros has 45 containers and 2 dumpster container trucks organically. This gentleman, this is a friend of mine. Dude, same as we all do. Talk to your competitors. Be friendly with people you can be friendly with. Don't give the house away. But there's no harm in helping somebody out if you can. This gentleman actually ran out of gas one time, and I stopped and got him fuel. I say gas. He ran out of diesel, but I got him fuel. And so we became friendly. He decided to retire, so he called me up and said, "Hey, here's my offer. Do you want to take it?" And I'll tell you what, dude. Huge increase in capacity. We added 45 more cans, 2 more trucks, and we got his business phone number, his website, all that stuff. And dude, it's rolling. I think a year from now it's going to be a hell of an easy add-on. And I think there's a lot of opportunity right now to buy business.
What do you? I like that. The other thing is you had an asset. I look at other junk removal companies, and they don't. There's nothing to buy from them. Most junk removal companies, right? Yeah. Dumpster companies. There's a lot more to sell because you have the physical dumpsters and you have relationships in commercial contracts. When I was at Waste Management, 75-80% of the business is commercial industrial repeat business. It is a small percent that's residential. That's why in summer Waste Management will stop residential cans for like 6 to 8 weeks every summer because their business picks up and the commercial cans, like they got to do we have State Fair in town or we have Summerfest. Those guys are flipping 40 cans a day between 3 or 4 trucks. They don't give a shit about one-off residential clients. They got to make sure State Fair and Summerfest are taken care of.
100%. I'll tell you, I've been talking to another junk removal company that wants out, and we haven't been able to come to an agreement. But, dude, I think there's some opportunity to buy some stuff very cheap.
I would say you're buying out your competitors, but the question is, like you said, you haven't come to anything because what are you buying? Are you getting
that's what I was going to discuss. Like, I think you gotta take each one with a grain of salt organically. You got to go over the financials. But dude, this guy.
My first question is, how much repeat business do you have? I don't care about the one-offs.
I can tell you. I bought a junk removal company. I lost my ass on it because the handful of customers they had were loyal to him, and then as soon as they found out new owners in town, they went and shopped, and I was out. And the new customers or potential customers, there'd always been a name, that got ruined because of it. So I got
our last guest, Andy. Our last guest, Eason, Make Us Homes, right?
Yeah.
That we had. He was my biggest customer year over year.
Yeah.
Like he did a lot of business with me.
Oh yeah.
A month after I left, he found a new trash guy. Yep. Wasn't personal. It was strictly business. He hired me. He hired me in my company.
And when you left, you gave him a reason to shop around. That was it.
Yeah, well, I think, listen, the dumpster company, the guy is working for me. I'm still letting him talk to customers. I'm still letting him deliver boxes to them.
That's the key right there.
That's part of the transfer. And he keeps asking me questions. And I tell him, I was like, if I want to change something, I'll change it. But the last thing I want to do is go out and try to reinvent the wheel. You have a customer base that likes you. You have recurring revenue. I want to leave that the hell alone. You know,
all you
let
guys
them get to know us.
here.
We'll introduce our processes slowly. We'll get them on board with us, so they're not walking away. But going back to the junk removal business, man, like this guy, I might make a deal just by his list, and I think it's gonna be worth it. I'm gonna give him $3,000 for his list, and I'll pay him a small royalty if I get customers.
Okay, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Buy the list, buy the phone number. Beyond that.
Well, I don't disagree for the situation I'm in, but I also think there's opportunity, man. Like,
but you said $3,000 to buy the list. You said $3,000 to buy the list.
Yeah, I made that number up. Like,
I was like, I'll buy.
So how many? I mean, I had this asked me when we sold the company. They're like, "Hey, what's your book of business look like?" And I'm like, honestly, I had a huge repeat customer base that the numbers they're kind of skewed. If I told you I had 14,000 and a half jobs, but I only had 7,000 customers, that doesn't seem attractive to you. But at the same time, I averaged almost 2 per customer. I want to know the quality of that customer list because I can do 10,000 jobs with 10,000 customers. I want that. Hey, why do you have a short list? Oh, because that's all we do business with is the same people over and over again, because now it's valuable because now it's almost guaranteed business. So I'd almost want to see the quality of that list because people were telling me after about 15,000 names and email addresses, that's when it starts to be worth money. I don't know how true that is now.
I don't think you're necessarily wrong, but to me, like it's, again, I don't know what the actual number is worth of the list.
Yeah.
But my point is I'm willing to take a little bit of a gamble on it because it's not life-changing money. I can make a deal.
Right.
And maybe I can increase my business pretty easily. You don't need too many jobs to make back $3,000. You know what I mean?
No, I would give a base price. Yeah, the way it would be attractive to me, because I had this conversation end of last year with an exiting junk removal company. It was I'll give you one time for the list. I will give you a price for the phone number, and I will give you a percentage of revenue in the next 6 months that comes from the list or the phone number, and then after that we're done. Because the gamble you take is correct. The gamble you take is the phone number and list are worth nothing to anybody else, and if you think the list is worth great, tell them, hey, you'll tell them 10% of everything on the list and 10% of everything that comes in from the phone. Because you're at 10% customer acquisition costs. And it's either you go pay the advertiser to go you that 10, that, or you're going to pay for somebody that allegedly is a great list. If someone's strong in their list, they'll be like, cool, email my list constantly. Let me make a couple social posts promoting you, from a personal standpoint or whatever, because they'd be, their cash flow is impacted by your ability to close on those jobs, perform on those jobs and close those jobs. The thing is, beyond that, the trucks probably aren't within spec of yours. Their employees, when I bought a junk removal company, within a month, all the employees were gone because they worked for the guy, not for me. And that was fine. They had 5 employees and they're all gone within a month. So you're not buying much.
I think you gotta be careful how you look about it. But I'm telling you, at the same time, like going back to fire dogs, dude, those guys are buying them up and they're indoctrinating these people and they're building a brand off of it. I think there's opportunity there. I don't think everyone's gonna be an opportunity. I think you gotta be careful how you.
Well, that's correct. Correct. What Fire Dogs is doing is different because they're all consolidating with that bigger PE firm. And they're bringing in operational processes and efficiencies and insurance, right? And they have capital to do all that versus, a guy like you or me that wants to buy up guy without operational processes. Chances are, if you're buying a list from somebody, that's all they have to offer. You're not getting a building. You're not getting the assets.
The list is not my end game. The list is kind of where you end up settling. But I'm telling you, I think you take a junk removal business with a little bit of brand recognition, a little bit of list, and a couple of employees, and then you add those processes to it, man. Like. If I get your list into my marketing scheme, I really think I'm going to make money. I think I'm going to turn $3,000 into at least $15,000 or $20,000.
Well, Barton, you can do that with other businesses too that associate with junk removal. I mean,
100%.
That's a landscape That's a landscape company. That's a house cleaning company. I mean, 100% because those are your same clients. I mean, you remember Alex Hoyer, Andy. I've talked about him a couple times, but
he
actually
the landscape guy.
Yeah, he's a landscaper and. I brought him over into my yard, and that's where he kind of started in my area. And I called him a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I actually just bought Mr. Lawn, which is local to him, and they had a cool setup. They had about 10 trucks." And I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, man." He's like, "He's tired. He's ready to roll." And I was tired of going from here to here. I was like, "Why don't I just buy him? Because now I have all his clients, all his equipment, his setup, and it's right there. It made sense for him. And the cool thing about that is nothing changes really with the partnerships that yard guy made and he made. Now he can just combine them. I don't think clients are going to be like, oh, well, I don't know you anymore, so I'm not going to use you. I think it's more like, oh, good for him for retiring. I want to keep this going. You may have a couple drop off, but the marketing thing you mentioned, Barton, is you could do that with the landscape company that wants to sell. Hey, I'll buy your client list. Because to me, that client is also my client, not just for landscape.
I think you're 100% right. I just want to be clear. Like my goal is not to buy the list. Like I'm interested in buying real businesses, but no, yeah, I agree with you though. Absolutely. Like, I think it's important to also realize who your customer is and who your customer isn't. You know, it's
So
if you guys want,
I want to know what was the arrangement with the dumpster company? The guy's still working. Was he an owner operator?
Yeah, owner operator. He had one employee working off book, and I met the guy and I said, listen, this is how I run my business. Like, I don't do anything off book. I don't, everything I do is above board. We reviewed the financials. We went over it. And dude, basically the guy was just tired. Like, he told me he wanted to retire. And as we went through the process talking to me, he goes, dude, you're really motivating me. And I was like, well, I said, I appreciate that. I said, but I get the impression you don't really want to retire anyhow. I said, so why don't you come on board? I said, you can work kind of as much or as little as you want to. You know, I'd love to have your experience and make sure the customers are being satisfied and happy the way you used to do it. And dude, so far it's been great. You know, it's a real opportunity, and he just wants to get rid of the stress. He loves coming in and driving the truck.
I say he cashed out from buying himself a job, and he sold himself to still have a job so he can run. So he was owner operator, answering the phones, doing all the things. In reality, he doesn't want to run a dumpster company. He wants to run dumpsters to customers. So
yeah, I think at one time maybe he wanted to run a dumpster company, but he's of an age where he wants to be able to wind it down a little bit. He recently sold a house and made good profit on it. So, and listen, I'm paying him. I made a pretty good deal. I don't want to go into a tremendous amount of detail, but it cost me almost nothing out of my pocket, and I pay the man on a basis, and I'm giving him a job. So, we have every reason in the world to trust each other. I need him, he needs me, and I love that setup.
Oh, correct. Why squabble and pay lawyers or anybody else when you can find a mutually agreeable situation where both people do what they want, and there might be a situation where he ends up making more money, right? Or at the very least, less stress because you can appreciate your operational efficiencies. He might stick around with you for 10 years because he's like, oh, this is a great spot, right?
And the other thing I'm getting out of him personally, unintended, is just he knows what it's like to be the boss. He even just managing that one guy, and I think his company was bigger years back, but dude, he's done a great job of taking some of that load off. He tells all the other drivers for me. He goes, "Don't call Andy, call me." He goes, "If I can't help you, then we'll call Andy." And dude, that's a big win for me. As long as his information's good.
Yeah, great. As long as he has your shared vision, then you're good, right? And it sounds like he does. How old is he? You said he's older.
Yeah, he's 62.
Yeah, okay. At that age, he's been around the block enough. He's not like he's going to try to reinvent himself no, he's going to follow the lead. He's
not just the opposite, dude. He knows the industry inside out, and upside down, and backwards.
Yeah. He just doesn't want to run a dumpster company anymore. And so what? Good on him. And now he can drive a truck. Now that's got me motivated. Maybe that's what I need to do. Because I've never wanted to get into dumpsters because the learning curve of dumpsters, and it's against my environmental responsibility aspect. That's interesting.
I'm telling you, I don't believe in a straight dumpster company. I don't know how those guys make money. At 100 cans, the dumpsters alone don't make me enough money. What they do, they basically act as billboards for me. They give me the opportunity to sell my full service ops everywhere I go. And they allow me to do a lot of my own jobs. You guys know the deal. You get a big furniture, that sort of stuff, even with a nice Isuzu truck and a ramp. A lot of times the dumpster is still more useful. Not all the time, but a lot of times.
Walking in. Yeah.
I think you'll make money. I think you'll make just enough money. I don't think you'll let me retire in a good year.
And that's great. You're right. There's two ways to make money with dumpsters: owner operator, where you bought yourself a job, or you have what we did the math on. It was like 400 plus cans.
Yeah,
it was 400 plus cans before it even made sense, and that's 400 cans, 8 trucks, in a dispatcher before the economic scale makes sense. Where you can hire a salesperson, ops person, and you be the owner before everybody makes some money.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you, it's not there at 100 cans. No, it's not. It's a nice little tranche.
You don't own the in-state, Barton. That's the thing is, until you own that in-state, you'll always be dependent on your like wherever you're taking that dumpster, you're dependent on that.
Oh,
tomorrow they could all bring it up to 250 minimum per yard or whatever y'all charge up there, and you have to comply. There's no like, well, let me think of a better place. It's like, hey, this is it now. This is the standard. This is how you get rid of shit.
Well, so that's part of our New Jersey regulation. Not to go deep into it, but I'm actually a public utility, so that rate's all controlled by the state. So these guys really can't raise it up to a level that probably what you're seeing in Dallas, Fort Worth. But I'll tell you, the other thing is you do have to remember who you are and what you are. Like, dude, I'm not a junk removal company. I'm not a dumpster company. I'm a marketing company. Yep. What I do is make the phone ring. Like, that's first and foremost. That's priority number one. And I think it's really important to keep that in mind. After that, we're a customer service company. You know, I don't care what we're selling, but first and foremost, we market. Second is customer service. And I listened to an interview with Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, the other day on Tim Ferriss. I love that guy because Jeff Bezos says it's customer centric. The customer is the only thing that matters. And he goes, well, I think two things matter. He goes, customer service and revenue. Yeah. You know, like I don't need, not every customer matters. He goes, paying customers matter. And I think that's huge. Yes. You know?
Yeah. The people, Netflix, the people that watch Netflix from other people's accounts don't matter. Their vote does not.
And that's exactly what he was alluding to. Yeah. I loved it. Right. I thought the guy was very smart.
Are you self-identifying as that?
Dude, I don't pay for Hulu, Max, Netflix, and Paramount Plus. So when I get logged out, I'm like, hey mom, what's your password again?
Yeah.
Ain't no shame in this game.
So what about innovative marketing? What do you got?
That's why you're on here. You tell me what's innovative marketing.
Well, I'm looking at my Q1 report, but what I just got into was skip tracing.
Creativity.
I don't think the industry's doing it.
Skip tracing? I don't know. I've heard of that. What is
you want to learn how to do that very well? Get with a wholesaler.
Yeah, that's where it comes from, dude. Real estate.
Fine. Let's fucking hold on. Let's slow down. Let's define the word first. Skip trace. What the fuck is skip tracing? We're 57 minutes in the episode, and now you fucking late. Apparently not.
Finding out the who and the where and the how. And how do I get a hold of
this is my 1 hour. This is my 1 hour a week that I guarantee you that I'm going to be working on my company. So, Andy Barton, what the hell is skip tracing?
So I don't really know how to define it. Let me look it up here. It's a process of locating a person's whereabouts. Skip tracing tactics may be employed by a skip tracer, a contact tracer, a debt collector, processor, bail bondsman, or bail. So essentially, this is what I do. I take any job I book out. First of all, for anybody listening, if you're in the junk removal space solely and you're a one-man operation, you should be booking all your jobs within 48 hours. If you're booking anything out from 48 hours, your cancellation rate's way too high and you're already fucked up. You need to close the job immediately. But if you get those occasional jobs, estate cleanouts, evictions, that sort of stuff where people really want to schedule and you're not just going to lose the work because they're shopping somebody else, I take all those now and I send them to my virtual assistants and we skip trace them. And they basically take that address and I tell them I want the 25 neighbors. Find me there, and they put in the data. They go on the tax records. They put the data in from that house. They build a little radius out, and then we text message and email them. Hey, we're going to be in your area on Thursday. Blah blah blah. We'd love to come and give you service that day. Because we're in the area, we can offer you a $25 discount. And they get blasted with email and text message.
Great at that, and so are real estate wholesale companies and investors. Because just because someone's living at that house doesn't mean they own the place. Well, same thing with junk removal. Just because someone's living in this house, maybe they don't make the decisions. I think I have never put that in perspective of junk removal. But then again, like you said, you're a marketing company.
You got to capture leads. Like how do you work in the smallest area possible? That's my goal every day.
I sent an email to I sent an email to my marketing guy right now with what you said because. Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you, it's a no-brainer in the text messages, especially, man. Like I do the emails too, because what the hell, but there's, not all skip tracing is created equal the way I found it. I got a guy who gives me their up to 3 phone numbers, up to 3 emails, and gives me their most active time. So they may be 8 to 10 a.m., 6 to 8 p.m.
There's a guy in one of the junk roll groups that does fucking man, yeah. Oh man, I hit him up on the Facebook. They said, I mean, he's a self promoter, and other people are like, this guy's great doing doing the text message marketing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Igor. I know John's a big fan from Happy Junk Removal. John's a good dude. If John thinks he's good, he probably is good. But
Igor,
some of the self promotion dude, I don't know.
Kavla.
Yeah, that's him.
Well, doctor at junk removal, that guy. Igor's the guy that sells the thing.
Yeah, I think Igor's the guy doing it. I know John was posting about how happy he was with the service. So
John who? That's a nice thing. You guys fucking know people. I don't
John
know shit.
John Aguirre, Happy Junk Removal out of Arizona. He's sharp. He's a data nerd.
John McGuire. Skinny dude. Like
No, he ain't skinny. He's not a big guy, but I'm not classified as skinny. He's short and bald. His son Mateo runs another company too.
John McGuire. I don't know how to fucking
John Aguirre.
John Aguirre. That's fucking John.
Aguirre, I think.
Yeah, I may not skinny. All right, that was the dude I was thinking of. Yeah, you're right. All right, I was thinking he just in this one picture he's got a bald head. Yeah. That guy's legit. I mean, we're Facebook friends. We've never actually chatted. He was voted. I will give him a shout out. Voted best junk removal company in the world by Mom. 5-star rating by 1,200 customers in Arizona. I like that. Over 10,000 jobs completing, hundreds of donations. Do you think you need help to get rid of junk? We can help. I like that. Voted #1 junk removal company by my mom. That's fun. Let's go,
dude. I'll tell you what, Andy. You would love him. You guys would probably have to have like a double
Let's have him on the podcast. You know? Actually, you know what? Hold on. He did send me this shit. Oh, you know, I told him I was like, I need a cogs cheat. Did he? Oh yeah, he does. He listened to one of our episodes. Like, hey, there's free cogs cheats. Yeah, I do remember.
Oh, he's gone deep on the cogs. I think I don't know if I was gonna critique John, which I'm not, but I would just tell him, fucking. I think he spends more time doing data than he does doing junk. Like
for the record, let me tell you something. As someone that also does that, yes. Like I had a conversation about cogs today. With my financial advisor in our marketing company. Then my marketing company's like, I don't give a shit. My financial advisor, he's on the call. He's like, yeah, we should really drive that number down. I was like, yes, thank you. Dude, I fucking love. Who now we got Abel Dominguez. Who the fuck is Abel Dominguez? Is that the guy? Is that the Abel Dominguez? Is that the guy I need to know? This guy. What's this guy? See, these guys, people do my Facebook research for me. Is Abel the guy?
Ooh.
Why is Taylor taking shit down? I was trying to copy that name. Abel. Is that the guy that does maybe that was the cat that does text messaging. Abel Dominguez. Let me see. I'm Facebook friends with him. Nope. See, this is what I need. I know what I need to do, Casey. I need to have Emmy, my assistant, come on this call with me. And then she can she can actually follow through. It's Ivan. Who the fuck is Abel? Russ Berry. You're saying a bunch of things. I don't know who the fucking. Oh, this Abel guy I saw his Facebook. He added me like this weekend on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I thought it was funny because he has a MySpace page. That's in his. Yeah. Seriously, that's in his. In his about. You gotta hop off. What are you doing? Is that what you said?
Soon, yeah, man. I'm hungry. I don't fuck around with food.
Oh fuck! All right. Abel Dominguez. We're just name dropping people. Big old beard, super cool guy. That's great, Russ Berry. Is that the guy I need to talk to about text messaging? That's my only question.
Igor is a text message dude, bro.
What the fuck is Abel?
That John said.
He said Ivan. You got Ivan, Abel, and Igor. 3 different names there.
He knows what I'm talking about. Igor, maybe he's Russian.
Yes, you will text a message.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. That was well done.
Send more money. Zelensky is broke.
Ivan, I believe. All right, there you go. Ivan Kozlov. That sounds like a fucking. There he is. All right, I'm gonna.
Where's Russ commenting though? How come I can't see this shit, bro?
Because you're not.
Facebook.
Ivan, this is the cat.
I've been commenting.
Go to comments.
Oh yeah, you know what? I told him to hit me up on. You know what it is? Actually, I copy and pasted this to my marketing guy. I need to hit this guy back up. You know what? Hold on. I think he had a call with him already. I just didn't get the details from it. Now I got to do my research. I'm like, I thought we had a call with this cat. Let me see. Oh, here.
Barton, you don't see the comments coming in?
I did. I don't see them anymore. They're all frozen, I guess. I answered a couple of them.
Oh,
I mean, like on this.
Hold on.
Usually it's on the left side or right side.
Okay, hold on. Full transparency. This is I'm 100% honesty here. So I just looked up Ivan. I was like, man, I know this cat. Last text message he sent me January 17th, Mr. Weins. How about 8 a.m. tomorrow? Does that work for you? I never fucking get him up back. See? There we go. We're solving the world.
What were we saying about text messaging?
It was an email, first of all. And I also said 2 minutes ago, man, I need fucking Emmy to schedule shit for me because I know who the fuck I am. I know I miss fucking emails all the time. Like this guy and I had full on like 7 emails back and forth between the 15th and 17th of January. You know what? He didn't fucking follow up with me. Right? He's got to know that I'm a productive guy. I get shit done. I need people to fucking John Argor.
Unless you say the word bet, you didn't hear it.
Yeah. If I say bet, that means okay, I'm in, right? John, I just texted him. I go, hey, we need to have you on the podcast. He goes, be fun. He's talking KPIs and revenue right now. He's literally looking at data as we speak. He needs me listening to the podcast. He took me.
Wait till you see his board. I built his board, and I realized I still wasn't as worried about it as he is. But dude, his board is unbelievable. That dude knows everything there is to know about what he's doing.
I have KPI envy. You know what? I was in a conference room a couple weeks back, and I was like, Jesus, that's a terrible picture, Barton. What is that from a wedding from fucking 97? God,
dude, it's on fucking YouTube. Do people even still use YouTube? I don't know. I don't have a channel, fucking.
Well, your fucking channel, looks like you're about 17 at a fucking wedding. You need a haircut and grow a beard. That's what you need to do.
America.
Hold on, put that thing back up. I want to see. That's what we're looking at. I want other people to see that. You're fucking. That's a wedding picture. We all know
that was the first day I started junk removal, dude. That's how I went to the job.
Oh my god!
It's all about uniforms, bro.
What the fuck? You fucking die, you fucking clown.
Fucking. I started doing the talent LMS stuff too. You guys doing any of that? Learning management. I'm making internal videos with training, so I'm making my new guys all take tests. You're not allowed to promotion until you go over.
So I'm not thinking about that.
You go over truck safety, removal of hot tubs, taking down a shed.
So you make it. Are the tests already pre-made, or do you make the tests?
No, I'm making a test. Well, I mean, my VAs are making the tests, but I make the videos. They edit it all, put it up. They got segments, dude. I'm telling you, I think it's where you need to go in the future.
But hold on. But what's the test? How do you test them? You just do a Google. What do you do for a test?
Oh, the software allows you to go out and build the test. They have to take it. They pass the modules. So you put as many videos into one module as you want to. So, like for example, the new guy module is hot tub, shed, truck safety, how to price. They have to go through and watch all those modules before they can get their first raise at the 90-day mark. Yeah.
Send me that shit. Oh, is that what you sent me this? No, this is Russ. Send me that shit. Send me your.
I will.
Which I want. Send me that. That'd be interesting.
Dude,
we're an hour into this thing. Casey's got to eat, and we're still coming up with new shit.
Well, I think maybe in the future we just do an agenda. I really did enjoy the 10 minutes on cardboard, but
yeah, man.
All right, Taylor, put that on the fucking list. Maybe we do show prep. We've done 106 episodes. We've yet to do show prep. I mean, some people were 3 minutes late. I'm glad this is
recording because the fact that you finally bring this up in episode 106. I think we should prep.
I just want you guys to know I come every day. Every time you invite me on a show, I come with a full page of Google Notes. Right? Most of the time, I don't use them, but
they're available.
Okay, well, next time when I say,
hey, we want to hold our guests to a higher standard than we do our own show. Just to let you know.
Yeah. Fuck that.
Welcome to the show.
Hold us. All right, next time. Hold on. Next time, Andy Barton, what would you like to talk about today? We're going to do that because I started with, hey, let's talk about this, and then we ended up on cardboard. All right. Fine,
well, dude, I think the location thing was very insightful. I think hopefully it helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of these guys are recycling cardboard at the level that Casey was.
I want to know how and this is just me, but I want to know how you can look at your different demographics and then say, all right, well, how do you push more towards one, not the other? Because that's locations for me, at least. Location was very huge for me, man. We dropped a territory that was technically profiting because it wasn't profiting as much as our other two locations. And
well, yeah, I mean that's the production possibilities frontier, right? What's the term for that? The law of diminishing returns, same shit. Like I agree. At a point you drop them. It doesn't matter where your capacity is.
Well, yeah, it's because even though you're profiting, it's like, well, shit, the time and effort and the money I'm putting over here, making $2, could I put the same amount over here and make $7? And that's kind of what we did. Because a company comes up for sale and it's a junk removal company, maybe they've been around forever, they're doing great. Look at the location. Like I don't want to be in downtown Dallas or downtown Fort Worth. The margins are super thin. The competition is super high. And I don't like driving in through all that bullshit. I don't trust my guys to do that. I'd rather be in the suburban area.
Oh, I think I don't disagree with any of that. I'm not shopping anything that's in a heavy market right now. I've been working that Philadelphia area, and even that has its challenges. But
There might be some franchises up for sale soon. Just saying.
Actually,
I'm sure.
based on the guy I talked to today, they're all owned by basically. There's only like 2 players left in the Philadelphia, three players left in the Philadelphia area. That's it. They're all the independent guys sold.
From J Dog.
Yeah, the J Dogs. One guy owns like 80% of them, and there's 2 independent guys, and then that's it. Because all the mom and pops just there's no money in it. Because
I don't understand the J Dog model. I got to tell you, I think the veteran community in the junk removal space specifically is highly underrepresented. Like the options out there that focus on targeting and marketing to veterans are poor.
Yeah.
Well, because
I'm embarrassed by it, and I got to tell you, I'm also not one of these guys. I think Andy's the same way, and Casey too. I don't think anybody owes me shit for being a veteran. Like I did that because I wanted to do it.
Fuck you, dude! I want that free meal on Veterans Day at Golden Corral.
Applebee's.
But these guys want to go out and market it, dude. They put camouflage on everything, dude. I don't get it. Like,
it works. I will say that it works. The marketing aspect is
correct.
The problem with that.
The problem with the entire model is they don't teach them anything on how to actually be a business owner. They just say, "Hey, wrap your camo truck and pay us royalties." And
I think a lot of them, dude. It's guys that are in the military realizing there's a lot of guys in the military that are stupid and they can take advantage of them. And then there's the other guys that want to go out and take advantage of consumers. So they go, "What do
it's not even stupidity, Barton. It goes even further than that. It's the ignorance, dude. When I got out of the military, if you're telling me, hey, Casey, thanks for 15 years of service. Here's some money you saved up over time. You can be a business owner. You know what I'm going to say? Sweet. Sounds great. First off, I don't know shit about my own business. I don't know shit about business ownership. And I don't know shit about junk removal. So who's vetting that? Because if you're going to go after a veteran, you have to know where they're at when they're getting out of the military. And just because they got the money and the veteran status does not mean they are a good business person.
You
can make them a good business person. But
J Dog wants to take advantage of unassuming guys from the military with a little bit of cash. I absolutely agree.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of his guys go in there not realizing they're being taken advantage of because they want to take advantage of the American consumer because, I'm a veteran, so you'll hire me and pay me more. Like, dude, pay me and hire me because we do a good job. That's it. Yeah. If you're American, dude, veteran or not, if you're American, I'm in love with you.
All right. Andy Barton loves Americans, as we already knew. Let's get to the big finish. Casey, what is your top takeaway from today's call?
Coming soon to a White House near you. My big takeaway is, we talked about so much. Let's just go back to cardboard. I'm just kidding. My biggest takeaway, honestly, is just, get ready, buckle up. This year is going to be very interesting. What I'm seeing down here is, I think it's different everywhere because of the growth. But this year, Justin Walls, we talked about it. This year is going to be different. For the junk removal companies that don't want to grow, they want to stay in the driver's seat. Well, just get ready to pay more, get ready to work more, and get ready to save less because you're not going to have the same returns as you did 2 years ago. I think at this point, you need to grow in some aspect of your business or you will die. And it's not just a saying anymore.
Barton?
And always be marketing.
ABM.
I think Casey hit the nail on the head, and I'm on board, man. I think you got to realize you got to climb the hill, when it's time to buckle down and go. I think we had a couple of years where it was really awesome, and you'll probably have a couple more years when it comes forward. But I mean, whether you got 25 trucks or 2 trucks, I think you got to go out and grind every day. You got to be willing to get up and do the work.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway from today. Last week we had our quarterly planning session. And this is why I wanted Andy Barton on the show before I did my quarterly planning session, because now I got more shit. Biggest takeaway is I need to follow up with, and get smart on this skip tracing, text messaging, and we do not reach out to people that we think are our customers, right? I do networking. I talk to people. We pick up the phone when they call us. We do not proactively go out and seek to find new customers other than, the traditional way. So that's an interesting one to, tell people that didn't even know the word junk rule wasn't on their mind to put it on their mind. So that is, I like it. I like it a lot. I've already sent the email to Chris, my marketing guy. I've sent him 2 emails, one on the text message and one on skip tracing, so we can get smart on that because, now is the time to gain up market share for me, my business, right? I'm going to gain market share for the businesses that are going out and the businesses that, aren't doing well because they stopped marketing over the winter. And now they have even less money to market because they used it on operational expenses instead of reinvesting in their company when the times were good.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of us that are in the business, we survived till April 1st, right? That's always the key for me. It was always get through the winter because we know the bottom falls out in December, and it was always to get to April 1st. This year, I walked into April 1 with more confidence than any other year in business. So that's been my win, the Q1, and now let's bring on Q2. As always, I'm Andy Weins. He's Casey Bubba Lawrence, and every quarter joining us, Mr. Andy Barton from the North Shores of New Jersey. Any final words or thoughts before we put a wrap on this? We're doing wrapping it up. Wrap this thing up, put a close on it, put a bow on it. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Any final words?
I always appreciate the invite. Thank you.
No, looking forward to seeing you in 90 days. Thank you, gentlemen, and everybody else. We will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Tap subscribe or follow to get the latest episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review and tell a friend to listen. To learn more,